She's #1 at being dumb, the new face of the DNC. Gather round, cause that's our Jazzy.
Yeah, baby.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep. Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman.
What happens when performative outrage collides with preparation, patience, and zero fear of backlash? In the last 48 hours, a single televised exchange sent shockwaves through political media, exposing not just one congresswoman's meltdown, but a deeper fracture inside modern American politics. Jasmine Crockett walked into the spotlight expecting applause, viral dominance, and narrative control. What she didn't expect was Gutfeld Tyrus, armed not with slogans, but with timing, humor, and receipts, dismantling her entire act in real time. This wasn't a debate. It wasn't even a clash of ideologies. It was a live autopsy of clout-driven politics, and millions of viewers watched it happen frame by frame.
Or literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you.
That's not very woke, is it? Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one. Racist!
Jasmine Crockett has built her political brand in the age of viral outrage, rising quickly through dramatic committee moments, sharp one-liners, and carefully framed confrontations that thrive on social media. To supporters, she represents a new generation of unapologetic activism. To critics, she embodies a growing trend in Washington, lawmakers who confuse volume with vision and performance with policy. That tension has followed Crockett long before this latest clash, but what happened on Gutfeld's show turned simmering criticism into a full-scale cultural moment because this time, the theatrics didn't land, and the cameras didn't look away.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices. Because we all get sucked into this. Like, this is... If you're going to talk about black history, at least know it. This is... At least know it, okay?
The controversy reignited after resurfaced remarks and recent comments sparked backlash across political media. As the clip circulated, critics accused Crockett of leaning into divisive rhetoric while avoiding substantive policy discussion. Supporters rushed to defend her intentions, but the damage was already done. The clip didn't exist in isolation. It landed in an environment already primed for scrutiny, frustration, and fatigue with performative outrage politics.
But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so...
Gutfeld doesn't debate the way traditional pundits do. He dissects. His approach isn't about shouting louder. It's about waiting longer. And when Crockett's comments entered his arena, the response wasn't outrage. It was ridicule, followed by precision. Gutfeld didn't challenge her ideology first. He challenged her credibility. With sarcasm sharp enough to cut through scripted talking points, he reframed the entire conversation, exposing contradictions that couldn't be spun away. And once the audience sensed the shift, the momentum was gone.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about
what immigrants do for this country or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
When the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Then came Tyrus, and this is where the tone changed completely. Where Gutfeld uses humor, Tyrus brings blunt realism. His critique wasn't performative. It was personal, grounded in lived experience, and devastatingly direct. He stripped away the buzzwords and asked a question that no amount of outrage could answer. Where is the substance? The studio didn't erupt because of insult. It erupted because the critique landed hard.
Gilmead, she's getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View on Gutfeld. But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about old.
Within minutes, clips flooded social media. Memes, reaction breakdowns, slow motion replays. But this wasn't viral because it was shocking. It went viral because it confirmed what many viewers already suspected. That too many politicians are performing for the algorithm, not governing for the people. Crockett's defenders called the criticism unfair. Her critics called it overdue. What no one could deny was that the performance collapsed under sustained scrutiny.
Do you have an opinion on this? Or should I move on to somebody?
No, I just... It has to come from me.
Yes.
Okay. None of y'all are qualified. Not just for one thing, I'm mad at Charmaine the Guy because he should have kicked her out. See, the problem is that we are allowing our own culture to be openly racist and get away with it. Now, if a white person is offended by that, and they should be, they say something, it's like, it's not the same thing. But if you say that and another brother looks at you and goes, man, you wrong for that. And I don't want you on my show. Get the hell out. Because I'm telling you right now, if I was not on the show, which happens sometimes, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men this and black that, and they shouldn't be here. And you know what happens when a white woman marries a black guy? You would not have seen that guy in the next segment. He would have kicked his ass off because you're not going to talk about somebody that I care about like that or another person like that. That's the problem.
This moment fits into a larger shift in American media. As long-form conversations and unscripted platforms grow, audiences are becoming less tolerant of rehearsed outrage and more interested in authenticity. Figures like Joe Rogan thrive not because they shout, but because they let people talk long enough to reveal themselves. In that environment, theatrics don't age well, and this clash showed exactly why. What happened to Jasmine Crockett wasn't an ambush. It was a warning. Politics is no longer protected by friendly editing or one-minute sound bites. The cameras keep rolling. The audience remembers.
Yes. Thank. Yeah, all right, stop it! Although I must say you have great taste. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh, man. Okay.
And when leadership is replaced by performance, someone eventually pulls the curtain back. Gutfeld didn't end a career. He exposed a strategy that stops working once people stop clapping. Jasmine Crockett will move on. So will the news cycle. But the message from this moment won't disappear. Voters are watching longer, listening harder, and laughing less at outrage masquerading as leadership. This wasn't left versus right. It was spectacle versus substance. And for one night, under studio lights and unfiltered reactions, substance won.
Jesse, You know, they called Musk a Nazi, and next thing you know, you got swastikas on cars. They called Trump Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist, and he got shot. So I don't really ever see that happening on the Republican side when we make fun of Democrats. It's also about the supporters. It's not just the leaders. It seems like Democrats are easily programmed to do bad things.
Yes, they are. They're very easily programmed, Greg.
I made you say.
What we are witnessing right now across American media and politics is not just another viral argument or heated cable news exchange. It is a full-scale unmasking of the modern woke political machine at a moment when public patience is collapsing faster than the narratives meant to control it, because in the past 48 hours alone, multiple breaking developments have converged into one unavoidable conclusion that even legacy outlets are struggling to spin, which is that performative outrage has finally run headfirst into reality, and the result has been panic, deflection, and an increasingly desperate attempt to reframe failure as victimhood, as newly surfaced footage, on-air confrontations, and internal leaks have revealed how certain progressive political figures who built their entire careers on social media theatrics are now completely unprepared when confronted with unscripted scrutiny, especially as voters begin demanding receipts instead of rhetoric, and the latest flashpoint.
First, they cursed, now they thirst for blood. Jasmine Crockett is upping her temper tantrums, now saying the only way Democrats can win elections is by throwing hands.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard.
Igniting this cultural firestorm came when a high-profile woke spokesperson attempted to dominate the narrative using the same recycled playbook of identity framing, moral superiority, and selective outrage, only to be calmly dismantled in real time by commentators who refused to engage emotionally and instead forced the conversation back to outcomes, accountability, and results. A shift that instantly broke the spell because without emotional manipulation, the talking points collapsed under their own weight, and this moment didn't just trend. It detonated across platforms, triggering millions of views, reaction videos, and brutally honest commentary from people who don't even identify with traditional political sides anymore, but are united by exhaustion. Because what made this exchange so damaging to the woke establishment is that it happened against the backdrop of new polling data showing declining trust in institutions, falling approval for culture war-first politicians, and a growing demand for competence over clout, all while behind the scenes, leaked strategy discussions have revealed that even progressive media insiders privately acknowledge the messaging is no longer landing the way it used to, and that the audience they once controlled is now questioning everything, from crime policy to education to economic priorities, especially as inflation, border instability, and international tensions continue to rise while activists in power offer nothing but hashtags and speeches. And as these contradictions grow more visible, the woke response has become increasingly frantic, with accusations escalating, dissent being labeled as hate, and critics dismissed rather than answered.
Now, she claims that she wasn't talking about Abbott's wheelchair at all. Yet she's mentioned Abbott's wheels before. In 2022, she posted Beto's rolling around the state. Where's Abbott rolling to? And according to the Washington Free Beacon, Crockett also liked several Facebook comments referring to Abbott as Hot Wheels back in 2020.
A strategy that may have worked 5 years ago, but now only accelerates the backlash, because every attempt to silence opposition reinforces the perception that the ideology cannot survive open debate. And this is where the breaking news element becomes impossible to ignore, because just hours after the viral confrontation, multiple mainstream outlets quietly edited headlines, softened language, or avoided follow-up coverage altogether, a move that only fueled accusations of coordinated narrative management, while independent journalists and commentators filled the gap by highlighting inconsistencies, resurfacing past statements, and drawing direct lines between political theater and policy failure, creating a cascading effect that has now forced even sympathetic voices to.
How long is she going to keep this thing that she wasn't talking about, the wheelchair?
Yeah. Come on, babe, you know you're full of and all that, Jasmine. I think what happened was AOC was like, you guys, I need to triangulate and be serious now because I'm going to be a senator. So someone has to be a talking attention whore. Who's it going to be? And Jasmine raised her hand and goes, excuse me, Congresswoman Cortez, I speak jive.
What it is.
Admit that something fundamental is breaking down. And what makes this moment historically significant is that it signals a turning point where cultural authority is no longer dictated by institutions or blue-check validation, but by credibility earned in unscripted moments. And when those moments arrive, no amount of training, buzzwords, or outrage performance can substitute for preparation and substance. And as viewers watch these clips replayed again and again, what they're really reacting to isn't just one person losing control of a conversation. It's the realization that an entire ideological framework has been relying on intimidation rather than persuasion, noise rather than logic, and emotion rather than evidence. And now that the audience has stopped clapping on command, the silence is exposing everything, from the lack of legislative wins to the absence of long-term solutions. And this is why the reaction has been so visceral, because people recognize the pattern in their own lives. Leaders who talk endlessly but fix nothing, officials who campaign permanently but govern never, and institutions more focused on optics than outcomes. And as new clips, internal memos, and off-camera reactions continue to surface, the pressure is only intensifying, with upcoming hearings, interviews, and public appearances now carrying real risk for figures who previously thrived in friendly environments. Because once the illusion of moral authority cracks, it doesn't quietly repair itself, it shatters publicly, and the broader implication is impossible to ignore, that America is entering a phase where political survival will depend less on outrage manufacturing and more on measurable results. And whether the woke establishment adapts or doubles down remains to be seen. But one thing is already clear from the reaction pouring in by the millions: the audience has changed. The tolerance for performance has expired, and the era where slogans could replace substance is rapidly
coming to an end.